Okay, welcome back in. I'm going to continue my 32 and 32 series. This time I'm going to look at the Seattle Kraken. And what a disappointing 2023-24 season they had, especially after they made the playoffs in 2022-23, beat the defending Stanley Cup champions in 7, and then lost to the Dallas Stars in the second round of the playoffs. Last year, again, I'm sure injuries played a factor, inconsistency, but for Seattle, you talk about a major drop-off from the season they had before until this past year. So they would finish with a record of 34, 35, and 13. They had 81 points, which was like a 20-point differential from the season before till now, until this past season. At home, they were 17, 18, and 6. And on the road, they were 17, 17, and 7. So they're pretty much 500 away from home and 500 at home as well. So a very disappointing season, like I said, considering how successful they were the season beforehand. They would finish with the 8th worst record in the league. So therefore, they would have the 8th pick of the first round, which they would select Berkeley Caton, a center, out of Spokane, which is in the WHL. So I'm sure with a lot of these guys, there's a lot of high expectations, especially when you're a first-round draft pick, and we'll see how he does and how his career pans out. So I'm going to take a look at the roster, and we'll see who is still there and who is not for the Seattle Kraken. So starting with the forward group, I don't believe Bellemare is come back. However, Matty Beniers is coming back. I'm pretty sure he signed like a 6 or 7 year contract, so he's definitely going to be a Kraken for a long time to come. And if I had to make a bold prediction, he should be the next captain. I mean, a lot of teams are, that's what there seems to be a common theme nowadays, is they're slowly giving the captaincy to the younger guys. And I think that trend should continue because him, along with other players, are definitely the future of this league. Brandon Byro is a member of the Seattle Kraken as well. Oliver Bjorkstrand has 2 years left to go on his contract. Andre Burakovsky has 3 years left to go on his deal. Berkeley Caton, I believe, has signed with the Seattle Kraken. Now, Jordan Eberle's contract did expire, but he has signed a 2-year, $4.75 million deal, so he's coming back for at least 2 more seasons as a member of the Kraken. Jagger Furcus is a member of Seattle. Yanni Gord is coming into the last year of his contract. David Goyette is a member there. John Hayden is there as well. Luke Henman is also a member of the Kraken. Now, Ty Cartle is coming into the last year of his contract, so we'll see how he does and if they give him a payday. Jared McCann has 3 years left to go on his contract. Max McCormick is there. Jacob Melanson is there. Ben Myers, I believe, was an off-season acquisition. Logan Morrison, Yanni Nyman, Carson Reckboff, Tucker Robertson, Leighton Road, and Edward Sale are all newer members for the Seattle Kraken. Jaden Schwartz has 2 years left to go on his contract. They have signed Mitchell Stevens. Chandler Stevenson was one of the big acquisitions they got from the Vegas Golden Knights. Brandon Tanev is coming into the last year of his contract. Thomas Tatar has signed with New Jersey. Eli Tolvanen has re-signed with the Seattle Kraken. Who else do we have? So we have Ryan Winterton and Shane Wright are all coming, or Shane Wright are members of the Seattle Kraken. I'm pretty sure Kyler Yamamoto is gone in Seattle. So we'll take a look at their defense. Their defense. So they have Will Borgen. He has a year left to go on his contract. Brian Dumoulin was traded in the offseason. Nicholas Brola is a member there. Lucas Dragovic is a member. Vince Dunn has 3 years left to go on his contract. Riker Evans is coming into the last year of his contract. They do have Cale Fleury. They have Maxime Lajoie. Adam Larson still has a year left to go on his contract, but he also has re-signed as well. I'm pretty sure he's going to be there for a few more years. Josh Mahura was signed from the Florida Panthers, and as did they also signed Brandon Montour. So that's a huge acquisition on the defensive side. Ty Nelson is there. Jamie Oleksiak has 2 years left to go on his contract. Gustav Olofsson, Vili Ottavainen, and Caden Price are members of the defense as well. Justin Schultz, I'm pretty sure, is a free agent. He still has yet to sign with anyone, but he is no longer a member of the Seattle Kraken. Now, when it comes to goaltending, Joey Decord has a year left to go on his contract. Philip Grubauer has 3 years left to go on his. The other members of the goaltending situation are Nicholas Koko, Victor Ostman, and Ales Stezda for the Seattle Kraken. So for the 2024-25 campaign for Seattle, they got to be better than they were this past season. Like I said, such a huge drop off. I think it was like almost a 20-point difference from 23 to 24. They have to be very good this season, and they should be, especially, like I said, with the acquisitions of Brandon Montour. He was very helpful on the back end for Florida when they just previously won the Stanley Cup. And for Seattle, like I said, they got to be better. They got to be competitive, and they could possibly squeak into the playoffs. With that being said, I think it's going to be 2 straight years and 3 out of 4 years that the Kraken will be out of a playoff contention. You think about all the teams in the Pacific Division. I think Edmonton probably has that first place locked down unless injuries or inconsistently plague them again this year. After that, you still have to think that Vegas is still going to be competitive. They might be in a wild card position. Vancouver, if they can repeat what they did last year, that's 3 teams just right there. LA is also a bit of a question mark. Like, they should be able to get in, but I mean, if Seattle can play just a little bit better, maybe they can finish ahead of LA in the standings this year. Other than that, that Pacific Division, you have teams like Anaheim and San Jose, and I don't think Seattle's going to be any worse than those 2 teams. Who else am I forgetting? Calgary as well. So, I mean, I think Seattle, on paper, should be a little bit better than the Flames, only because the Flames are going through a bit of a retool. So, at worst, they finished 5th in that Pacific Division, and that might still be good enough to get into the playoffs, considering that 5 teams out of the Pacific could make it into the postseason, and I wouldn't even be surprised. But for Seattle, I'd say no to the playoffs, only because of the other 4 teams that I'd mentioned. Like I said, unless they have a better season than Vegas or LA, I think the Pacific's going to be Edmonton, Vancouver, Vegas, and LA. Those are going to be the top 4 teams that should make it into the postseason. So again, if I had to make my bold prediction right now, I say Seattle finishes just on the outside, looking in. All right, that takes care of my preview for the Seattle Kraken. As always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative. Until next time, and as always, take care.